The hard feeling world's run by toddlers with tasers. That people pulling strings can't code a fidget spinner but still want to scan your kid's face before they can post a cat meme. Yeah, me too. Australia's banning under 16s from social media, and you know UK's licking its lips to follow. They say it's to protect children. That's bait. But behind digital curtain, it's not child safety. It's full-blown digital lockdown cosplay, facial scans, biometric IDs. Every kid turned into suspect before they even hit puberty. And gamers? We're just lab rats for what's coming next. Alright, you lot, buckle in, cause this week, I'm not just tearing down a ban. I'm disemboweling bullshit behind it, with a blowtorch, a Yorkshire accent, and zero fucks left to give. Welcome to Fire, lads. Let's torch narrative. So thanks to Birkenell for this week's fire starter. He asks, hey Scotty, what's your opinion on Australia banning under 16s from social media? And should UK follow suit? Right, let's get straight to it. No fluff, no bollocks. On paper, banning kids under 16 from social media sounds like one of those, finally, someone's doing something moments. Daily Mail types are probably foaming at mouth with joy. Protect children, they scream, while polishing off their 8th can of lager and ignoring their own offspring glued to TikTok in the next room. Yeah, I get it. There are genuine risks. Social media has become Wild West in a clown suit. Creeps into the ends. Body image disasters. Cyberbullying on a scale we've never seen. Teenagers posting like they're 25, talking like they're influencers with trauma degrees. It's a mess. So sure, chuck a ban on it. That'll fix everything, right? Wrong. Here's what these digital Mary Poppins lawmakers forget. Kids aren't stupid. You think a 14-year-old who can jailbreak an iPhone in under 10 minutes is going to be stumped by an ID check? Please. They'll VPN, sideload, spoof, swap IDs with a cousin's boyfriend's uncle. Hell, they'll be running Bernadette Goods before press release even finishes printing. This ban doesn't stop bad behaviour. It just pushes it into dark corners, smaller platforms, unmoderated forums, messaging apps that make Telegram look like CBeebies. You've not eliminated danger, you've just moved it out to sight. Brilliant work. A+ for effort, big fat F for foresight. Think about it. What happens to teens with real mates overseas? Cousins, old school friends, people they met through gaming or hobbies. Now you're telling them to either go silent or hand out phone numbers and emails like it's 2003. That's not safer, that's sketchier. And let's talk about enforcement, ID checks, facial scans, safety systems. Sounds great until you realise it means shoving even more of your kids' data into systems built by the same companies who can't stop leaks, breaches, and shadow profiles. To protect kids, you're forcing them to hand over the digital fingerprints. That's not protection, that's surveillance dressed in a pastel hoodie. And you better believe market will adjust. Watch black market for fake online IDs blow up like it's GTA Online. Watch dodgy age-neutral platforms rise like mould in the student fridge. This is what always happens when you try to ban behaviour instead of fixing the system it thrives in. You want to protect kids online? Start with people who let them online in the first place. Mums and dads. Guardians. That mate's older brother who set up their Instagram with a fake birthday so they could follow Logan Paul when they were 9. It's cold hard truth. If you're too lazy to check what your kids are doing online, that's not Instagram's fault. That's you. If your 10-year-old is live streaming in the crop top from a bedroom while you're watching Love Island, guess what? You don't need a ban. You need a fucking mirror. Now, before you lot start foaming at mouth, I'm not saying platforms should get a free pass. These tech giants are like casino owners pretending they're health clubs. They want addiction. They want your kid doom scrolling till 3 a.m. with their eyeballs melting. Because that's engagement, and engagement means money. So yeah, hold them to fucking fire. Make them designed for safety. Age gate properly. Strip out algorithms that prey on insecurities. Burn the servers down if they knowingly let predators roam free in group chats. I don't care. But stop acting like it's only fix. Because even with tightest laws, sharpest AI moderation, and most dystopian ID scans you can imagine, there's still one weak link. Human holding phone. And if that human's 13 and pissed off at world, or lonely, or just bored, they'll find a way in. Which means you, adult in room, needs to do your fucking job. Not just once, not just when a scandal hits news. Every bloody day. I'm talking school-level digital safety. Not some PowerPoint assembly once a term, a real subject, like maths, only more useful. Teaching kids what grooming looks like, what a scam DM sounds like, what to do when stranger asks for feet pics. Not hiding them from it, preparing them for it. Then hit parents with truth. Make it simple. Leaflets home, TV campaigns, manuals in every ISP router saying, here's how to lock it down, you daft sod. Even shovel whining inside Happy Meals for all I care. And this bit will piss a few people off. If something does go wrong, if your kid gets hurt, exploited, harassed, yeah, hold platform to account if they failed, but also look inward. Because if you didn't talk to them, didn't check the phone, didn't ask questions or laid out rules, you don't get to pretend you did everything right. That's cold hard truth no one wants to hear. And here's final nail in digital coffin. Creeping horror no one wants to look directly in the eye. Because while politicians bang on about protecting kids, what they're really doing is cracking open a door they've been dying to walk through for years. Surveillance. Australia's ban on under-16s from social media doesn't stop at a birthday check. It drags in facial scans, biometric ID, and full-blown identity verification just to open a fucking TikTok account. You know what that is? Here's a hint. It's not child safety. And it's coming here next. Don't kid yourself. UK government's got its own wet dream bubbling under sheets. Online Safety Act. Sounds nice, doesn't it? Like something your nan'd vote for. Ooh, safety. But buried in that nice little package is a mountain of power grabs. Backdoors into encryption. Data harvesting dressed as protection. Ability to scam private messages like they're checking your gas meter. This is how it always starts. Think at children. Then suddenly, everyone's under boot. Teens, adults, pensioners, don't matter. You're all suspects now. Your DMs, your selfies, your memes, all subject to compliance. It's not about stopping kids from seeing filth. It's about building a system where government and tech giants can track everyone, all time, and call it safety. And here's kicker. It still won't fucking work. Kids will still get through. Groomers will still adapt. Pros will still evolve. Because banning access ain't safety. It's theatre. And bad theatre at that. Kind that costs millions. Solves no. And ends with everyone clapping out of fear, not respect. So no, UK shouldn't follow. Instead, we should aim higher, smarter. Design platforms that don't feed off dopamine addiction. Punish them hard when they enable harm. Educate public, both clueless parents and savvy kids. Build systems that respect privacy and teach resilience. At the end of the day, we need to stop pretending we can patch over a collapsed society with one sweeping ban and press release. You want safer internet? Start with smarter adults, not bigger firewalls. And that, fucking hell, is your answer. Cheers for questioning, you legend. Keep them coming. Right then, shout out to me pal Pyro Friendly Arsonist 9195. Hell of a name. Sounds like you barbecue with grenades. He asks, what's your thoughts on Fragpunk now versus then? Let me break it down for you, simple and sharp. Fragpunk were like a microwave lasagna. Looked alright from box art, smelt half decent coming out of oven, but one bite and you're chewing rubber with regret. Played it for about an hour, had some laughs. And then, no pull, no itch to go back, just another forgettable shooter in the lineup of generic tryhards. It wasn't offensive, it wasn't broken, it just existed, like Loot Tea or Small Talk at bus stop. A game designed by a committee for people who like idea of shooters more than shooters themselves. Now I know some of you lot are still playing it, same way there's still folks playing Marvel Rivals or hanging on to Finals Ghost Town. Good on you. No way, but me? I'm not wasting SSD space on a game that plays like it were meant to fill a Tuesday. Compared to Off-Grid or Delta Force, Fragpunk doesn't even make benchmark. It were meh then, and it's still meh now. And I've got better things to do with my time than reinstall a 5 out of 10 just to confirm it's still 5 out of 10. Thanks, Pyro. Hope that helped. Right then, let's take a break and have a look at so-called freebies gaming gods have tossed into our laps this week. And by gaming gods, I mean Jeff Bezos and whatever cryptid runs Epic these days. First up, Amazon Luna. That streaming service everyone forgets exists until they accidentally click on it while looking for a Prime Video. This week they've graced us with, wait for it, Forgotten Realms Archives Collection 2. Jesus wept. That's not a game drop, it's a time capsule. We're talking ancient DOS era Dungeons and Dragons RPGs here. Proper neckbeard fuel, text walls, pixels squinting, Music that sounds like your modem's trying to sing. Look, I love good old games. I respect roots. But chucking this on Luna in 2025 is like handing a millennial a VHS tape and calling it free Netflix. Cheers, Jeff, but no thanks. At least offer a free box of eye drops for font size, you soulless skinwalker. Now let's talk Epic. Epic went massive this week. Proper headline grabber. Kind of thing that makes Steam squint and go, yeah! Hogwarts Legacy. Free. £0. Just download it. No catch. Except for 85 gigs of disk space, a moral dilemma of playing the world J.K. Rowling still earns royalties from. Now, wherever you stand on that flaming bin fire, you can't deny this is a big drop. A proper AAA game, decent open world, magic combat. Works. Whether you think it's game at year material or just budget Witcher in robes, it's still a serious get for Epic, and it's going to drag millions of fence sitters over to launcher, which is exactly what Epic wants. Don't care if you play it, you just want your data, your attention, and your eventual Fortnite relapse. So yeah, Luna gave us vintage arthritis, Epic gave us wizard school drama, one smells like floppy disks, other smells like microtransaction butterbeer. Guess which one I'm installing. Now let's have a butcher's at what's coming down pipe this week. And for once, it ain't all remakes and reheats. Some of this might actually be worth booting your PC for. First up, Steam, December 16th. Otaware Ramono-san. Yeah, I like anime. Sue me. Cult weed police. I don't care. Otaware Ramono is my second all-time favourite anime. And no, I won't pronounce it twice. My Yorkshire tongue ain't built for that many vowels in a row. This one's a full-on action/slash spin-off from visual novel series. Think Dynasty Warriors with bird girls and lore so thick it makes Dark Souls look like a picture book. You either love it, or you're already confused. I'm in. Now on to Xbox. December 16th, Five Nights at Freddy's, Secret of Mimic. Yeah, Freddy's back, because we clearly didn't suffer enough. You'd think after a decade of evil teddy bears and children's souls trapped in animatronics, we'd be done. But no, Xbox players are finally getting a fresh dose of jump scares and lore deeper than Mariana Trench. Secrets at Mimic looks unsettling, which is the point. You sick bastards love it. And finally, Splitgate Arena Reloaded, December 17th on all platforms. Here we go again. Resurrection attempt. After Splitgate 2 tripped over its own hype and face-planted into a pile of confused matchmaking and unbalanced maps. This is 1047 Games trying to pull a No Man's Sky. Will it work? I hope so. Portal gunplay thing is brilliant. Halo with wormholes. But they've got one shot. Gamers don't do second chances twice. For Arena Reloaded ain't buttery smooth and stacked with content. It'll be Splitgate deleted by Christmas. So there you go. Anime swords, World War II planes, killer mascots, and quantum FPS carnage. That's your week. Play smart, preload early, and for the love of God, don't trust any animatronic that offers you cake. Now, back to questions. And speaking of Splitgate, this one comes from JackLeftTown427, and it's a proper question that's got a few people frothing. Should 1047 Games refund everyone who made purchases for Splitgate 2 since they took game back to beta and now relaunching it completely rebranded? Short answer? Yeah, bloody well should. Long answer? They probably can't afford to. Let's not sugarcoat it. Splitgate 2 launched like a wet fart in a wind tunnel. Like were I, community were buzzing, then bang, matchmaking jank, missing features, and content drought that made Fallout 76 look like a buffet. Then came U-turn, back to beta, full rebrand, new name, new shop, said studio. And it's kicker, people paid money. Some chucked in a fiver, some went full wallet warrior. Skins, passes, bundles, lot. Now those purchases are floating in digital limbo while devs hit Control-Alt-Delete on whole thing. So yeah, refunding a bit right thing to do, or at least offering some legacy bundles, free passes, exclusive cosmetics, stomach for those who backed them early. You don't just slap beta on the train wreck and expect everyone to keep buying tickets. But brutal truth, 1047 skint. They blew through a ton of goodwill and likely more funding than they want to admit. Rebuilding the player base isn't just about game design. It's marketing, servers, support, updates. That shit costs. So don't hold your breath waiting for PayPal notifications. And if you think I'm exaggerating, remember people were already boycotting this dev team over a hat. No joke. A hat. That's how fragile trust has become in gaming. One mean cap and your player base turns on you like a pack of rabid otters. Still, I'll be dropping into Splitgate Arena Reloaded on release, just like many of you. Not because I forgot, because I want to believe. I want 1047 to get it right this time. But if the shaft early supporters again, that'll be final straw. And not even a Platinum Act can save them from that. Thanks for that, Jack. This next one comes from Xtram21, and it's aimed straight at Squishy Soft Centre at It's a Social Experiment, bro crowd. He asks, Hi Scotty, what do you think of social experiment claims in Ark Raiders? Most YouTubers saying what we do in-game defines who we are IRL and all that. Ain't point to be a raider, raiding Ark, and or raiding other players. Just to clarify, I'm not a PvP guy in extraction games, and I believe it's natural to have bad players, just like IRL. Let's clear bullshit fog up front. No, Ark Raiders is not a social experiment. It's a bloody video game. Same goes for Escape from Tarkov, Division Survival, Hunt Showdown, COD's DMZ, and other looter shooters with extraction mechanics. You're not taking part in a psychology thesis. You're looting, shooting, trying not to get domed up my arm. But it's interesting bit. While these games aren't social experiments, they do expose something real. Not about morality, about risk. See, it's not about are you a good person, it's are you willing to risk your loot to trust a stranger. In real life, there's rules, laws, social contracts. You don't eat someone's lunch because you'll get slapped, fined, or filmed and put on TikTok. In-game, these rules are gone. All that's left is fear, greed, and social preservation. When someone shoots you in Ark Raiders, it's not because they're evil, it's because you're a threat to their progress. You're holding potential value, and in a system where trust ain't guaranteed, people will default to survival. It's classic golden ball scenario, that old game show where two people can split money, but if one of them picks steal, while other picks share, stealer gets everything. Every contestant swears they'll share, until they don't. Because I choose me, it's human nature when something real is online. Now in Ark Raiders, that real is virtual loot. It's hours of grinding, builds, mods, currency, all of which can be lost in seconds. So yeah, people get jumpy, they get sweaty, they shoot first, teabag later. That ain't evil. That's just system working exactly as designed. YouTubers claiming this defines your real-life morality are chatting shite. It don't mean you're a psychopath because you sniped a duo and ran off with a stash. It just means you're playing game. And remember, PvP players aren't villains. They're not ruining your day. They are day, tension, paranoia. Check your hands as you extract. Only works because someone else might be gunning for you. So don't cry when loot bites back. That's what it's meant to do. You don't have to like it, but if you step into no rule zone, don't be shocked when people act like there's no rules. Thanks for that, next one. And remember, stick to game. There's Fixer 2616 for throwing petrol can on digital bonfire with this one. If you could ban one of these three, which would you pick? TikTok, Instagram, or X? TikTok, without hesitation. No stalling, no coin flip, just straight up yeet it into the sun. And before TikTok cult kicks off in comments forming at screen, hold your rage fingers. I'm not saying it's all bad. I use TikTok. I've got over 7k followers on there, or friends as they call it, because apparently word follower hurts Gen Z's feelings. I post videos, I've built a presence, I play a game, but it's truth. I spend way more time on Twitter, because that's where real intel lives. Gaming journals, content creators, industry leakers, spicy dev tweets. That's my pipeline. It's chaos, but it's signal-rich chaos. Instagram? Well, I follow a few creators, mostly outside gaming sphere. It's background noise, pretty pictures, some reels, few GMs, harmless fluff. But TikTok's an attention vampire with a bottomized algorithm and a data policy looser than a FIFA rulebook. It's endless dopamine bait for brains that forgot how to sit still. The shorts I upload there are just recycled YouTube clips anyway. Not original, not exclusive, just same content cut differently for a different machine. And now, get this, Keir Starmer's on TikTok. That alone's a war crime. I don't care what side of politics you're on. If UK Prime Minister's on there trying to do relatable content while country's on fire, our platform needs to be nuked from orbit. So yeah, if I had to ban one, TikTok's first out to airlock. Others have problems, sure, but TikTok's one-eating brain cells are an entire generation while Beijing probably watches from shadows with popcorn. Delete it, burn it, archive memes and salt earth. Thanks again, Fixer. Right, here's Heavy Hitter from Ages444 who'll drop this beauty. I wanted to get your view about a channel. Maybe do some detective work if you want. I went to see how Escapists were doing since Exodus are employees going to Second Wind, and Jesus, they were scumbags. But it's depressing to see videos they post nowadays. They still have history with zero punctuation, and I still re-watch compilations. Mate, same. And I feel this one deep to cynical old bones. Date Gamers Group booted Nick Calandra from Escapist what day that platform sold, packed its bags and left building. One man gone, nearly entire core team followed him. Writers, hosts, editors, and of course main event, Ben Yahtzee Croshaw, voice and mind behind zero punctuation. Now look, legally Escapist still owes name zero punctuation, but spiritually, it's a fucking ghost. What's left of it there now is just empty content, filler uploads, SEO garbage, and low-effort slop stitched together by people trying to squeeze blood from a copyright stone. And yeah, I checked. I did digging. Gamers sold off Escapist and .esports to private investors earlier this year. But don't get excited. That's not a rescue mission. That's someone buying up remains of a burning house because walls still look pretty. As for Gamers Group, their rep is grim. Former staff have talked about undefined goals, toxic management, unrealistic targets, and general corporate rot. I've seen it firsthand in other industries. That moment when passion dies under spreadsheets and people who make magic are treated like replaceable gears. But here's good news. While Escapist spirals into mediocrity, Second Wind's thriving. That's where the real team went. They took the voices, the humour, the bite, and most importantly, the freedom. Ben Crawshaw's new show, Fully Ramblematic, is, for my money, a better version of zero punctuation. It's looser, sharper, unchained from whatever editorial leash were holding them back. Same dark wit, same delivery, just freer. And Second Wind is old. They've rebuilt. They've got momentum. They've got a community that actually gives a shit. It's rare, and it's earned. So yeah, old Escapist is dead, channel still breathes, but it's running on inertia and empty IP. What we remember's gone, and that's okay, because Second Wind didn't just survive, it evolved. So if you're out there still rewatching old zero punctuation stuff, great, it was brilliant, but don't stay stuck in past. Head over to Second Wind, support creators who got shafted and said, fuck it, we'll do it ourselves. They're not just thriving, they're proving why they mattered in the first place. Cheers for that, ages. Right, Firkin L1 is back with another absolute banger. Hey Scotty, MBF6 and BO7 have grown old, what's next? Will it be more revamped, or will they come up with something new? Here's your answer, mate. Welcome to Ender an Era. See, Ghoster Hope drop receipts. Microsoft, bless the cast-soaked hearts, apparently do think Black Ops 7 is a good game, but it's tanking anyway. Why? Because people are tired of being drip-fed DLC dressed up as premium. Because nostalgia ain't enough when gunplay feels like deja vu and monetization makes FIFA look generous. BO6 fell off a cliff. BO7 is dangling by its fingertips. And now Microsoft are watching the billion-dollar investment bleed subs and sink sales, all while they're locked into a decade of promises with PlayStation and Nintendo. You just know there's someone in a suit over there who wants to beat Phil Spencer to death with a battle pass. Now Microsoft's linked mood, brutal, smooth revenue stream, reduced expenditure, mergers, monetization rethink, notes off table. That's corporate speak for, you bastards better pull a miracle out your arse or we're turning you into mobile game devs. This is the moment where a franchise either evolves or dies with dignity, because old formula's broken. Odd tried to live forever on fumes of NW2 nostalgia, on fan service skins and overpriced anime bundles. But players got wise. Whales started drying up. Dreamers lost interest unless they were getting flown out and handed checks. Meanwhile, Battlefield 6, underdog game swinging, took its time, cleaned up its netcode, served up gunplay that didn't feel like it were firing marshmallows through soup, and boom, Battlefield community, once left for dead, started barking again. And EA? Oh, they saw bloody water. Announced plans to take Battlefield annual in 5 years. Massive fucking mistake, but also a flex. It says one thing loud and clear. They think they've got COD on ropes. And for once, they might be right. What's next when BO7's nostalgia overdose finally wears off and Battlefield 6's 5-year roadmap starts smelling like reheated DLC? Are we getting something new? Short answer, don't hold your breath. Long answer, maybe, but only if they're desperate enough. Let's start with Call of Duty. They're at a forking road. One path says, do what we've always done, milk old cow, slap a new hat on Ghost, and pray that TikTok teens don't notice we're charging full price for recycled mats. Other path says, let's actually fix bloody thing. Microsoft, according to insiders, is leaning hard on that second path. Not because they want to make great games, but because current model is bleeding money like a loot box real leak. They're not thinking about players, they're thinking about margins. If that means merging studios, gutting leadership, or killing Warzone 2.5 in favour of something cleaner, they'll do it. And what about innovation? Yeah, Todd's idea of innovation is making your gun back like a dog and charging you 30 quid for it. If real change happens, it won't come from dev's vision. It'll come from sales reports screaming, "We're losing audience." Now, Battlefield 6, on the other hand, might be in its golden window right now. They've got momentum. They've got players. They've got some goodwill for the first time in what feels like a decade. And what do? They announce they want to go annual. Jesus. It's like watching someone finally fix the car and say, "Let's drive it into a wall at 70 miles an hour." Annual releases are poison unless you've got 3 studios rotating builds and infinite money. Even then, it still rots creative soul. Ask Assassin's Creed. Ask FIFA. Ask Corpses or every Rush sequel that ever flopped harder than a fish and ketamine. So what should be next? Here's uncomfortable answer. Slow down. One game built well, supported properly. No more map packs as full games. No more Warzone clones that last 18 months. Build trust. Make it last. Then, and only then, take risks again. New IPs, new timelines. Stop chasing Cold War. Try writing a new one. So yeah, there'll still be revamps. Nostalgia still sells. But if either franchise wants to survive past next collapse, they need to stop sniffing their own legend and actually give players something worth playing. Otherwise, next new thing won't be from Activision or EA. It'll be some indie dev in a basement making a shooter that don't treat players like cattle. And I, for one, am ready to uninstall every AAA shooter I own to play that. Cheers, Ferkino. That's a couple of great ones from you this week. And here's another from Jack Left-Hand 427, and it cuts right to the bone. What do you think about Ubisoft announcing a new FPS built on Unreal Engine 5 after they thoroughly screwed XDefiant by forcing dev team to use their internal engine snowblind? Short version? I'm done with Ubisoft. Properly done. I've wiped them from my mental hard drive. Don't own games anyway by their own logic, so I've cut my losses and fucked them off. Years of loyalty, gone. And that's not coming from some bandwagon hate face. I grew up on Ubisoft. Tom Clancy especially. I love books, love games, Rainbow Six, Ghost Recon, Splinter Cell, Assassin's Creed back when it were actually about assassins and not a bloated open world tourist simulator. Prince of Persia were class, tight, focused, stylish. They used to know what they were doing. And XDefiant? Let's talk about that and properly. XDefiant should have been my main FPS. It would have been. Gunplay felt good, pace were right, it had that pick up and play energy that modern shooters keep forgetting exist. And Ubisoft did what Ubisoft always does. They strangled it with corporate bullshit. Forcing devs to use Snowdrop instead of letting them choose an engine fit for purpose was first red flag. When Mark himself says he wished they could have used a different engine, that tells you everything. It's not a confident publisher backing a long-term product. That's a company saying, get this thing out cheap, fast, and on our terms. And here's where it stinks. XDefiant were never meant to live. Not really. It didn't fit Ubisoft's model. No bloated overworld. No endless cosmetic treadmill that could squeeze for a decade. No synergy with the usual churn and burn pipeline. So despite what they told team, despite what they told players, always felt like a disposable project. Something to point at in meetings and then quietly suffocate when it didn't slot neatly into the spreadsheet fantasy. Can I prove that? No. I don't have internal emails. I don't have leaks from management. But I've been around this industry long enough to recognise smell. And it smells rotten. Now Ubisoft pops up and says, "Oh look lads, new FPS, Unreal Engine 5. Suddenly they know engines matter. Suddenly they care about tools." Funny that, after they burned goodwill, burned the dev team, and burned the community that actually wanted to support them. As for new FPS, I've seen it. I don't care. I won't try it. I won't give feedback. I want the free QA for a company that treats studios and players as disposable assets. They don't get me time, me data, or me patience anymore. Will I still talk about Ubisoft? Yeah, when they fuck up, when they announce something stupid, when questions like this come in. But as a customer, as a player, as someone willing to give benefit of doubt, that version of me is dead. I genuinely hope Ubisoft management get exactly what they've earned. Not violence, not threats, just relentless bad decisions, missed targets, and consequences. Kind of karma that don't shart, just slowly bankrupts your credibility until someone finally sells lot and lets franchise breathe again. Thanks for that, Jack. And remember, they did this to themselves. Right, back again with another ripper from Xtram 21. This one's going to sting a bit. When do you think AI bubble will pop and hardware prices will go back to normal? I don't think so. Just sharing, I recently checked RAM prices in my country and it's literally double compared to what I bought in August. Alright, let's light this one up. First, let's kill term AI bubble. That word bubble makes it sound like this is some .com level hype train that's going to burst and leave a bunch of tech bros sobbing into the GPUs. But this ain't speculation. It's demand. Real, massive, relentless demand. AI data centers are being built like bloody Starbucks, and every one of them are sucking down RAM and high-end silicon like Dyson on Coke. That demand ain't going anywhere. Not until maybe late 2026 or 2027. And even then, it depends on whether we see another shift in compute models, or if quantum computing decides to crawl out at lab and throw a spanner in it. Now yeah, price hikes are disgusting. RAM doubling in price isn't just painful, it's deja vu for anyone who remembers COVID silicon shortage days. Back then it were miners, scalpers, and shutdown fabs. Now it's AI, enterprise greed, strategic redirection. And its real kick in RAM sticks. Micron, biggest player in consumer memory, has said, nah, screw it, little guys, and shifting away from crucial consumer RAM and SSD lines. They're chasing bigger margins in enterprise AI game. Can't really blame them. Profit per chip is night and day, but it's a gut punch for builders and gamers who'll now get stuck with leftovers. This decision will stretch shortage longer. With Micron doubling down on high-end server-grade AI memory, supply for consumer-level parts just got even tighter. And where there's tight supply, scalpers rise from grave like crypto zombies with bot scripts. So yeah, Extra, you're spot on. It's not going to go back to normal anytime soon. That RAM price doubling you just saw, it's not a glitch. It's new baseline until market stops shoving server farms down their throats and starts caring about end users again. I feel lucky I upgraded when I did. My current rig's got enough legs to carry me through storm. But for everyone else, you've got two options. Make do with what you got, stretch it, optimise it, undervolt it, clean dust out of your bloody case, or fork out a kidney and prepare to overpay for what used to be mid-tier kit. It will get better, eventually, but not before it gets worse. And if you see RAM on sale for a good price, buy it. Because next week it might cost same as a small car. Thanks for that, Fire Extran. And another from Ages444. And it's so deliciously ironic I can barely read it without a smug grin cracking on my face. With COD being as it is overall, wouldn't it be ironic if Medal of Honor came back and kicked its ass? Where COD became irrelevant, or more so? Should that happen? Go full circle? Where MOH killer got killed by MOH? Mate, that's not just ironic. That's Shakespearean revenge plot material. It's poetic justice dipped in petrol and set alight with a flamethrower coded on Unreal 5. Let's remember where this started. Medal of Honor walked so Call of Duty could sprint with a rocket launcher. COD were literally built as anti-MOH. Vince Zampella and Jason West left MOH crew, started Infinity Ward, and said, let's make this better. And they did. First Call of Duty dropped and world changed. Then Activision bled franchise dry. Sequel after sequel. Engine updates that didn't update out. Zombies. Battle Royales. Copy-paste multiplayer. Nostalgia abuse. And here we are. BO7 limping. MW3 remixed. And Warzone feeling more like a social experiment in microtransaction psychology than an actual game. Meanwhile, what's EA sitting on? Vince fucking Zampella. Original architect. Man who killed MOH by making COD. See, it's fantasy. EA walks into Vince's office, slides a dusty MOH logo across the table and says, you broke it, now you fix it. One last ride. Here's COD Killer. Again. And imagine he says yeah. Imagine Medal of Honor returns, built from ground up with modern tools, but with classic core. Gritty, grounded, story-driven warfare with proper boots-on-ground multiplayer. No capes, no anime skins, just adrenaline and atmosphere. Kind of shooter that made you feel like you were there, not just grinding XP for another skin you'll replace in a week. I'm a bit first in line. So would thousands of others sick of seeing the same COD animation from 2009 in a 70 quid box. And it's kicker. COD's so bloated, so fragile, so desperate to please everyone, it wouldn't take much. One good MOH, One tight, focused, no bullshit campaign. One addictive, lean multiplayer. That's it. That's all it'd take to steal Thunder. Because COD didn't just forget where it came from, it paved off at past remarketing and has said, trust us. And now most loyal fans are starting to say, nah mate, I've seen this before. So yeah, let it happen. Let MOH Killer get murdered by ghost at franchise it betrayed. Let it come full circle. Medal of Honor Resurrection. Tagline, remember who fired first. I'd buy it in a heartbeat. Your movie, eh? Cheers, Aegis. Always a pleasure, mate. Right then, channel update time. We're sitting at 1,988 subscribers right now. Absolute legends, a lot of you. That's nearly 2,000 degenerates choosing vinegar over virtue, and I love you for it. But here's a thought. Can we hit 2026 by end of month? Not 2,000, too clean. 2026. Year of broken games, rising RAM prices, and me losing what's left of my patience. Feels symbolic. Let's make it happen. Massive shout out to members keeping Violet and Algorithms slightly nervous. James Larmer, Silverbullet 90, The Babical, Firkinell, Scotty Seether, and Mayhem. You lot at Petrol and Engine. No corporate sugar, no fake eye, just pure support. I see you, I appreciate you, and if I could bottle your loyalty, I'd pour it straight into industry's eyes. Now you've probably noticed Elwire's taken a bit of a backseat lately. That's no accident. Unfiltered Scotty's art, no script polish, no sponsor gloves, just me, Mike, and the blood feud with broken promises. Devs getting rinsed, content creators catching strays, and no safe rails left. If that's your flavour, stay locked in, because it's only getting hotter. And yeah, shorts are thin right now. I'd love to crank out 3 a day, but I'm neck deep in scripts, emails, and wire crimes against AAA publishers. I'm working on bringing someone in to handle edits and uploads so I can focus on turning Fury into content. Bear with us. Chaos is coming, just needs a good editor to package it. More to come, less filter, full send. That's your lot, folks. If you made it this far without rage quitting or writing a think piece, congrats. You got more spine than most dev teams. If you're new here and your ears are bleeding, good. That means it worked. This ends safe space. We're allergic to bullshit around here. Got questions? Drop them. Got texts? Bring them. Just know if your comment's daft, I'll roast it like a dev roadmap in reverse. Keep your rig cool, your opinions hot, and your middle finger firmly aimed at broken games and corporate wankery. And I'll see you next time, you magnificent.